At breakfast, her husband threw coffee on her face when she refused to give her credit card. Please stay with me as I tell my story. And please, do not forget to support our channel by subscribing to our channel, liking our videos, and sharing your loved ones. Your support means the world to us. Now to our story. At breakfast, he asked for my credit card like it was his God-given right. When I said no, he smiled, then picked up his coffee mug and threw it in my face. It was boiling hot. The pain hit me before I even understood what had happened. I screamed. My skin felt like it was peeling off my cheek and neck. The cup shattered on the floor, and coffee soaked into my shirt. I couldn't move. I was frozen, gasping for air. My daughter, just 7 years old, stood at the table, holding her spoon midair. Her eyes wide, her mouth open. She didn't even cry. She just stared at me like she couldn't believe it either. He didn't say sorry. Didn't ask if I was okay. He stood up, grabbed a towel from the counter, and tossed it at me. Next time, don't be such a bitch, he muttered and walked out of the kitchen like nothing had happened. I sat there, pressing the towel against my burning skin, holding back tears because I didn't want to scare my daughter any more than she already was. She looked at me and whispered, "Mommy?" I forced a smile and told her everything was fine. It wasn't. Nothing had been fine in years. He used to be kind, or at least I thought he was. When we first met, he brought me flowers, told me I was beautiful, paid for everything. I thought I got lucky, but slowly things changed. He started controlling my outfits, telling me not to talk to certain friends, saying they were a bad influence. Then he convinced me to quit my job, said he made enough money for both of us. I thought he was just being a good husband. Once I stopped working, everything shifted. He gave me an allowance, asked to see receipts. I couldn't even buy a coffee without asking him first. He ruined my credit, took out loans in my name, and blamed me for the bills. I stayed because I kept thinking it would get better. I stayed because I didn't want my daughter to grow up without a father. I stayed because I was scared. But that coffee, that moment, something inside me cracked. Not from fear, but from rage. That night, after I put my daughter to sleep, I took my old phone from a drawer, the one he didn't know I still had, and searched online how to install a hidden camera. I ordered one, fast delivery, small, motion sensor, disguised as a kitchen clock. If he ever did anything again, I'd have proof. I wouldn't be quiet anymore. Let him smile now. He has no idea what's coming. When I first met him, I thought I hit the jackpot. He was charming, confident, polite in public, and always knew exactly what to say. He brought flowers on the first date, called me angel, opened doors, remembered the smallest details about me. Everyone told me I was lucky. I believed them. But the man I married wasn't the man I ended up with. It started small. He'd make little comments about my clothes. "That dress is a bit much, don't you think?" Or, "Why are you wearing makeup if we're just staying home?" Then it became rules. No shorts outside. No makeup without him. No talking to my male coworker. Eventually, he made me cut off 2 of my best friends. "They don't really support you," he said. "They talk behind your back." He made me believe it. Then he asked me to quit my job. Said we didn't need the extra income, and he wanted me to relax. I said yes because I thought it meant he cared. Once I was home all the time, things got worse. The verbal attack started. I was lazy, stupid, wasting his money. He started shouting if dinner wasn't ready, or if the house wasn't perfectly clean. He called me useless, a burden. I cried a lot in the shower. It was the only place he wouldn't hear me. One day, he slapped me. Just once. Said it was my fault for pushing him. I forgave him. He cried afterward, said he'd never do it again. Of course he did. I learned to cover bruises with makeup. I got really good at it. At the grocery store, I'd smile and nod to the cashier while my arm throbbed under my sweater. I got used to hiding. He took my credit card, maxed it out, opened new ones in my name, and let them default. Then he told me I was too dumb to manage money. I couldn't even open a bank account anymore without his permission. Then came the coffee incident. That was bad, but not the worst. The worst was the day I heard my daughter scream. He had grabbed her arm hard. She was only a child. He yanked her back when she dropped a bowl of cereal. I saw the bruise forming in real time, and he told her, "Now you'll learn not to be careless like your mother." That night, after he fell asleep, I pulled out the folder I'd been hiding for months. Photos, recordings, bank statements, copies of bruises, dates, everything. I packed a small bag for me and my daughter, picked up the keys, and walked out. He doesn't know it yet, but he's going to lose everything. For years, no one believed me. To everyone else, he was the perfect husband. Clean-cut, polite, helpful at barbecues, always smiling in photos. People adored him. Even my own family used to say, "You're lucky. Not all men are like him." But behind closed doors, he was a nightmare. He called me names until I cried. He pushed me into walls. Broke plates just to watch me clean them up, shaking. He'd hit me, then hug me 5 minutes later like nothing happened. And every time I tried to tell someone, they'd say I was too emotional, too sensitive, or just overreacting. I started believing them. Then one day, after he threw hot coffee on me in the kitchen, something snapped. My skin burned. My daughter screamed. He said it was my fault, again. And I stood there, wet, shaking, thinking, this is never going to stop. That night, I searched online for hidden cameras. I found one disguised as a kitchen clock. Small, motion-sensitive, silent. I ordered 2. One for the kitchen, one for the living room. And then I waited. For weeks, I played the part. I smiled when he smiled. I apologized when he yelled. I cooked, cleaned, obeyed, and let the cameras record everything. What I caught was worse than I expected. Footage of him throwing things, screaming in my face, threatening me. One clip had him grabbing our daughter by the arm and dragging her into her room while she cried. I couldn't breathe watching it. I downloaded everything, made 3 copies, USB, cloud, and an encrypted email backup. Then I called a lawyer. Within a week, he was served divorce papers. At work, in front of his coworkers. His smile finally cracked. Next, CPS knocked on our door. Then the police. My lawyer had timed it all perfectly. Every agency moved like a machine. Every threat he made was backed by footage. Every lie he ever told me was unraveling fast. He tried to say I faked it, that I was unstable, that I was trying to destroy his life. But this time I had proof. He used my silence against me for years. My fear kept him safe. My shame kept him powerful. Not anymore. Now he's the one explaining himself to lawyers, to judges, to officers. I'm free. And he's finally alone, with nothing but the truth chasing him. He made sure I had nothing. First, he asked me to stop working, said he wanted to take care of me. I thought it was sweet. Then he started moving money around. One day, he asked me to sign some papers, said it was just to combine accounts. I didn't know I was signing everything over to him. He closed my credit card without telling me. I found out at the store when it got declined. I had to put back groceries while the cashier stared at me like I was a thief. I was so embarrassed, I cried in the car. Every time I needed something, shampoo, tampons, laundry soap, I had to ask. He'd roll his eyes, sigh, sometimes hand me a $10 bill like I was begging. If I didn't spend it exactly how he liked, he'd call me wasteful, stupid, selfish. At night, while I slept, he'd take my debit card from my purse. I once woke up and it was gone. When I asked him, he said I must have misplaced it. 2 days later, he handed it back like he was doing me a favor. He controlled everything. Money was just another leash. Then he threw hot coffee in my face, over a credit card. Something changed in me after that. I didn't scream. I didn't fight back. I just looked at him and said, okay. He laughed, smug. Thought he won. But I was done playing the fool. That night, after he fell asleep, I got on his laptop. He always left it open. I knew his password. I started digging. Found hidden accounts. Offshore savings. 2 backup checking accounts in his name only. He thought I was too dumb to figure it out. For weeks, I played dumb. Smiled when he mocked me. Cooked his meals. Washed his socks. But every night, I transferred small amounts of money into an account I secretly reopened in my maiden name. I made copies of his safe key. Watched his routines. Waited. On his birthday, while he was out playing golf with his buddies, I emptied the safe. Cash, gold coins, passports, all of it. Then I grabbed our daughter, the backup bag I'd packed a month ago, and left. I didn't leave a long letter. Just a note on the counter. Now you know what broke feels like. $7.43. Enjoy. He called. Screamed. Threatened. I didn't answer. I wasn't scared anymore. I had everything I needed. And he had nothing. The coffee hit my skin before I saw it coming. 1 second, I was telling him no, he couldn't use my credit card again. And the next, I felt a wave of heat explode across my face and neck. I screamed. The mug hit the floor and shattered. The pain was instant, deep, like fire crawling under my skin. He didn't help me, just stood there, breathing heavy, and said, "That's what you get." I stumbled to the sink, ran cold water over my face, but it was too late. Blisters were already forming. My daughter cried from the hallway. The neighbors must have heard everything. The yelling, the crash, my screams. No one came. At the hospital, I told them it was an accident. I said I spilled it. The nurse gave me a long look. She didn't believe me, and she didn't pretend to. While cleaning the burns, she leaned close and whispered, "I see this a lot. You don't have to go back." I nodded, but didn't say anything. I didn't trust myself to speak. They wrapped my face in gauze, gave me cream, painkillers, sent me home with a list of instructions. He was waiting for me when I got back, sitting on the couch, flipping through channels. He didn't even look up. I walked past him, grabbed my car keys, and went back outside. I didn't have a plan. I just drove. Ended up parked behind a closed grocery store. It was cold. My daughter was with my sister that weekend, thank God. I wrapped a blanket around myself and leaned the seat back, staring at the roof of the car, feeling the sting of every heartbeat in my face. It wasn't the first time he hurt me, but it was the first time I felt nothing toward him. Not fear, not anger, just done. I realized I'd rather sleep in a car, live in a shelter, start completely over, than ever walk back through that door again. When the sun came up, I drove to a police station. My face still wrapped in white, swollen and red underneath. I walked up to the front desk and said, "I need to file a report. My husband threw boiling coffee on me, and that's not all he's done." The officer looked at me, paused, and nodded slowly. "Okay, let's get started." It was the first time I told the truth out loud, and it was the first time I stopped being afraid. He thought I'd never fight back, and for a long time he was right. He'd taken everything from me, piece by piece. My family stopped calling after years of him telling them I was unstable. My friends drifted away, tired of me canceling plans or never answering the phone. He made sure I had no one but him. Then he made me quit my job. Then he made sure I had no access to money. Then he told me I was lucky he even stayed. The fight that morning was over a $25 grocery delivery. I told him I didn't want him using my credit card again. I needed it to get diapers. He laughed and said, "You don't get to say no." When I stood my ground, he picked up his coffee mug and threw it at my face. The mug missed. The coffee didn't. It splashed across my chest and arm, burning like acid. I gasped and stepped back, shaking. He stared at me, chest rising, like he was daring me to say something. I didn't. I just nodded and walked away. But something inside me had changed. I wasn't afraid anymore. I was done. I had nothing left to lose. And that made me dangerous. That night, while he slept, I used an old Facebook login and started reaching out to people he didn't even remember existed. An old roommate, a cousin, my best friend from college. I told them I needed help. They all answered. Within 2 weeks, I had a burner phone, a secondhand laptop, and a plan. I opened a secret bank account under a name I hadn't used in years, my maiden name. I began saving small amounts from the house budget, just a few dollars at a time. I took photos of every bruise, screenshots of every threatening text. I wrote down dates, times, everything. Then the worst happened. He lost his temper when our daughter spilled her milk. I watched him grab a belt. He didn't see the phone recording on the counter. Her scream will haunt me forever. That night, I didn't hesitate. I sent the video to the police, my lawyer, and the family services department. I sent it to the same old friends who had helped me disappear online. He was arrested before midnight. He thought I'd always be afraid. He thought I was weak. What he didn't realize was that I had been surviving every single day, and survival made me sharp. He forgot something important. A woman with nothing left will do anything. It all happened in one day. That morning, I was making eggs when he walked in, already angry. He asked about the credit card charge from the night before, groceries. Just $32.17. I told him I needed to buy milk and diapers. He slammed his mug down on the counter. Then, without a word, he picked it up again and threw the hot coffee straight into my face. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just froze. The pain hit instantly, sharp and blinding. I backed into the sink, holding my cheek. My daughter was at the table, her fork shaking in her hand. He didn't even look at her, just muttered something about teaching me a lesson, and walked out of the kitchen like he hadn't just burned me. That was the moment, the point of no return. I had taken too much for too long, and I knew if I didn't leave today, I never would. I went upstairs, locked the bathroom door, and took a few deep breaths. Then I opened the linen closet and pulled out the old phone I'd hidden behind the towels months ago. He thought I'd thrown it away. It still worked. I texted my sister, "I need you. Today. No questions." She replied instantly, "Tell me where." Next, I went into the garage. He had installed a GPS tracker under the car, paranoid and proud of it. I knew where it was. I crawled underneath, pulled the battery, and tossed it into the trash bin outside. Back in the house, I packed 2 bags. One for me, one for my daughter. Only essentials, documents, clothes, some cash I had hidden away in a tampon box. He didn't notice a thing. He was in the living room, yelling at the TV, beer in hand, completely distracted. My daughter stood quietly by the door, shoes on, her small hand gripping mine like she already knew we were about to do something big. I didn't say goodbye. We walked out, calm and silent, got in the car and drove. I didn't even turn the radio on. My heart was racing, but my hands didn't shake. I'd never been more certain of anything in my life. By the time he realized we were gone, it was already dark. The last thing I did was send him a message. "Don't bother looking for us. We're never coming back." He burned me at breakfast. By dinner, I was gone forever. He always told me I was imagining things. When he yelled, he said it was just firm talking. When he slammed doors, he said I was too sensitive. When I cried, he told me I was dramatic. He made me believe I was the problem, that I couldn't remember things right, that maybe I really was crazy. He repeated it so often, I started to believe it. Then one day, I found his burner phone. It was buried in a pile of laundry I was folding, tucked into a sweatshirt pocket. I didn't think much of it at first. Just a plain black phone, no case. I figured it was old or dead. But it wasn't. When I turned it on, I found texts. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Messages to other women, some flirty, some disgusting. Voice memos too. He recorded himself planning things, calling lawyers, bragging about hiding assets, talking about how he'd leave me, without a dime, when the time was right. I sat on the floor, holding that phone, my hands shaking. Then the coffee incident happened. He asked for my credit card. I said no. He smiled and threw the mug at me. Coffee splashed up my chest and arm. The pain burned, but I didn't flinch this time. I was already done. That night, after he went to bed, I grabbed his laptop. He always saved his passwords, banking, email, everything. I logged in, started digging, found accounts I didn't know about, loans he opened in my name, transfers he made to himself using my money. I screenshotted it all, every detail, every receipt, every message from the burner phone. I didn't cry. I made copies, printed everything, sent files to a cloud account with a password only I knew. Then I wrote one email, just one. I put him on it, his boss, his parents, his brother, my family, our neighbors, everyone who had ever said, "He seems like such a good guy." The subject line? To the man who burned me and the people who let him. I attached the screenshots, the bank records, the texts, the voice memos, photos of my injuries. I didn't hold back. Then I packed a bag, grabbed my daughter, and left. By morning, the email had been read over 50 times. He called, begged, screamed, switched between threats and apologies. I didn't answer. For years, he made me feel like I was crazy. But now, everyone finally saw the truth. He used to say it all the time. No one's ever going to believe you. You're just a dramatic little girl. If you try to leave, I'll ruin you. And for a long time, I believed him. He was charming to everyone else. The smiling neighbor, the helpful coworker, the perfect son-in-law. No one saw what he was like when the doors closed. So I stopped trying to tell people. I started collecting proof instead. I recorded his voice late at night when he was drunk and angry, whispering threats in my ear. I took photos of my bruises, my arm, my ribs, the burn mark on my neck from when he accidentally bumped me with the curling iron. I wrote down dates. What he said. What he did. I saved it all in a folder titled Recipe, hidden on an old tablet he never used. Then came the coffee. All I said was no, he couldn't use my credit card again. He smiled, picked up his mug, and flung it at my face. The boiling coffee hit my chest and shoulder, and I screamed before I could even think. That was it. That night, I stayed awake until sunrise, stitching everything together. Audio, photos, voice memos, written accounts, screenshots of texts where he called me garbage, told me I was worthless, even joked about teaching me a lesson. I turned it all into a single file, a digital diary of every year I lost to him. Then I emailed it to a journalist. Not a big one, just a local woman who wrote about domestic violence cases. I didn't include my name. Just said, "This is real. I need people to know." 3 days later, it went viral. Within a week, the local news was on it. The file spread like fire. Reddit threads, Facebook groups, even Twitter. People started connecting dots. Some recognized his voice. CPS knocked on our door. So did the police. I handed them the flash drive. Said, "There's more." He was arrested the same night. 2 months later, I went on a podcast. Sat across from the host, microphone in front of me, and said my name out loud. Told everything, start to finish. No hiding. He watched the whole episode from a TV in the county jail. He used to say no one would believe me. Now the whole world does. If he hadn't thrown that coffee on me, I'd still be there. Still trapped in that house. Still scared. Still hoping things might change, even when I knew deep down they never would. That coffee burned more than my skin. It woke something up inside me. Before that, I was just surviving. He hit me when he was angry. He blamed me when money went missing, even though he was the one stealing from my account. He broke my phone once for talking too long to my sister. He told me I was lucky he put up with me, that no one else ever would. I believed him. I let go of friends. I stopped calling family. I quit my job because he said he'd take care of everything. Then he took control of my money, my choices, even my body. Every bruise I covered with makeup. Every apology he made, I clung to like maybe this time he meant it. But he never did. The day he threw coffee on me, everything changed. My chest blistered. I had to peel my shirt off because it stuck to my skin. He didn't say sorry. He didn't help. He just told me to clean up the mess I made him make. That night, I stared at myself in the bathroom mirror, shirtless, burned, shaking, and I realized I wasn't crying. Not because it didn't hurt, but because I was done feeling sorry. The fear was still there, yes, but something stronger had replaced it. Rage. I made calls. I found a lawyer. I filed for a restraining order. I reached out to a shelter. I filed a report with CPS. I got copies of every record, every bank statement, every threatening text. I kept the hospital report from the coffee burn. I fought back step by step. Not loud, not fast, just steady, determined. He tried to stop me, of course. Said I was crazy, said I'd regret it. But he was wrong. The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner. Now, I live in a small apartment, just me and my daughter. It's quiet. No yelling, no fear, no bruises. The walls are still bare. The furniture's cheap, but it's mine. I walk through the front door with my own key. I lock it when I want. I sleep through the night without jumping at shadows. He beat me, burned me, broke me. And weirdly, I thank him, because now I know what it means to be free.